Today's episode is sponsored by 21 Seeds Infused Tequila. 21 Seeds was started in 2019 by three female entrepreneurs and moms whose vision was to create great tasting, smooth spirits with light touch flavor that are easy to mix and enjoy. And boy, are they easy to mix and enjoy, y'all. Taking inspiration from the fresh and simple tequila cocktails the founders enjoyed making for themselves and their friends, 21 Seeds features three award-winning varieties: cucumber jalapeno, Valencia orange, and grapefruit hibiscus. Oh my gosh, so good. 21 Seeds is one of the fastest growing flavored tequilas and was acquired by Diageo in just 3 years in March of 2022. This deal marked one of the largest female founded liquor acquisitions to date. Yes, female owned business. 21 Seeds hopes to inspire you to gather your tribe and make memories that will last forever. It's the seed of something bigger. 21 Seeds Infused Blanco Tequila, 35% alcohol by volume, imported by Diageo, New York, New York. Please do not forward or share with anyone under 21. Please drink responsibly. Hey y'all, welcome to Pink Shade. It's Shades of Bravo Thursday. I have got a great Bravo guest today. It is Thea de Sousa. She has written an amazing book called The Real Housewives Ultimate Trivia Book. You guys have heard about this book. It's so cute. It's pink, so I love it. Guys, I've been going through this book, and I got to tell you, I thought I was an expert, but I was stumped on a few questions, mostly Miami. The rest of them I got. Thea, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Mary Payne. I'm so honored to be here. I've been a longtime fan of you.
That is super nice. I don't hear that a lot, so oh my God. Well, we talked forever before we started, like we always do. And I'm so glad we did, because you told me that at BravoCon, you are doing a show with Captain Lee that you wrote for him. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we are performing at the Westgate Casino on Thursday night at 7:30 p.m., which, by the way, is owned by none other than the Queen of Versailles from the documentary. So
Oh, I know. When you said Westgate, I was like,
So
woo!
Jackie, who's a longtime close friend of Captain Lee's, is letting us put it on at her casino. So that should be
Amazing.
fun.
Amazing.
And then there's still some tickets available on Ticketmaster, and there's a meet and greet before and a meet and greet after. We did this show at the Hard Rock in Florida in April, and it was sold out. It was amazing. The meet and greet was so much fun. We give drink tickets out for people who do VIP, and it was such a
Oh,
party. Dana Wilkie came with me. You know Dana. She came with me. Yes,
$25,000?
did you know?
Yes. Did you know? $25,000?
She
Yeah.
lives in Florida. I actually had never met her, but I know her from Instagram, from my page and whatever. And I was in December. I had to go to a movie premiere in Paris, and it was a movie that a girl had written about me. This is crazy.
What?
When I worked for Julia Roberts years ago, I was a story editor for Julia. And a
Uh-huh.
little girl called up on the phone, and I happened to answer it. The assistant was out or something. And she said, I have a movie to give to Julia. And she was French and like a young, like 18-year-old girl. And I
Oh.
immediately said, sure, bring it in, which is crazy, right? And gave her my address, which is crazy, like Julia Roberts' address. And the girl, unbeknownst to me, was in Paris and flew overnight by herself on an airplane to bring me this movie for Julia. And she came in the office and she was crying, and I showed her Julia's office, and it was crazy. Like I could have been fired on the spot.
Yeah.
Years later, we became very close friends. Years later, she wrote a whole entire movie about this for Universal Pictures in France. And it's all about how that day changed her life. It just taught her to chase her dreams, and how I changed her life. And I'm in the whole freaking movie. There's a character named Thea. She's a friend, obviously American girl. And this movie had a huge $4 million budget. They shot in New York City, all the scenes with me. They mocked up my office. So, and
Stop.
I know, crazy. So anyway, I got obviously invited to go to the premiere, and I went in Paris, and I was just chatting about it on my page on Your Moms Are Watching. I
Yeah.
chatted like, oh, I'm going to this premiere. And Dana said, oh, I'm going to be in Paris. And I said, you should come. So I'd never met her before. She came to the premiere. It was just an insane experience. You can't even imagine how surreal to be sitting in a movie theater and have a character named Thea on the screen, changing this girl's life, and how crazy. And even at the end of the movie, I'm talking in the credits, so it's me where they're
Yeah.
interviewing me for French TV, and they put the credits over actual me, Thea. So Dana and I are just sitting in this theater, and I'm like, this is so crazy. So that was my first time ever meeting her. And then the second time was she lives in Florida near the Hard Rock, and she came to the Captain Lee show, which was fun. And my dad came, my dad has a movie review show on NPR. So he came and my sister came. It was super fun. And Captain Lee, of course, gracious. And I was nervous for him. He was nervous, but he did an amazing job, really killed it. And so for Vegas, I kind of rewrote the show to be a little bit more like, interactive and fun and rowdy. We have games, and he shouts out to the audience and people get really involved. So I think it's going to be a great night.
Oh my gosh, what a life you've
I
had.
know.
What a life. Did you say that you're 54?
I certainly am. Yes. 54,
I am also 54.
54, and I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, Mary Payne. So
What?
yes, obviously late in life mom, 47 and 49. I had 2 kids, obviously by egg donor. So I am an old mom. Oh,
You are so I have a good friend who's my age, she's 55, and her kids I think are also like 7 and 5.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough at this age to run around.
That's amazing, Thea. That's amazing. What a life. I hope that you're writing a book about your life because you just dropped like 4 stories right there that I would like to have a whole book about.
Well, on my Instagram page, on Your Moms Are Watching, in my highlight section, I save a ton of stories about my life from everything. I used to work, in Hollywood. I was a development girl, and I did all kinds of crazy things in my Hollywood days. And I tell a lot of stories about the celebrities I worked for, and also my childhood. I grew up with no running water, no electricity till I was 16, 7 brothers and sisters. And my mom,
Where did you grow up?
Western Massachusetts, on a very, very
Okay.
old house. My mom was a state senator, Republican. She just passed away. And you're
Wow.
crazy. So anyway, I tell all these stories in my highlights. So if you click on any of the circles on my Instagram page, you'll come up with lots of stories. I'm a much better writer than I am a speaker, Mary Payne.
Well, I think that you should be having all these stories in written form because I mean, what a book that would make. Because I know that worked on Seinfeld. I know you've worked for Julia Roberts. Like you have a sad and amazing 9/11 story. And then, to me, I'm like, oh, it's so interesting because she's got this like super popular Instagram account. And now you've written this book. You're writing a Vanderpump Rules book and you wrote a show for Captain Lee. It's like, how do you get from A to Z back around to A to Z again? Like, wow.
No, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't sleep much, Mary Payne.
What a life. What a life. Um, okay. All right. So, like, I literally, all my questions have gone out the window
Sorry.
because I've got so many more questions now. So, I just want to ask you about the structure of the Captain Lee show. Is it him sitting on stage telling stories about his life? And I mean, he's not up there like doing like cabaret me. He's not dancing and singing.
Well, I tried to make it not just him sitting telling stories about his life. The Florida
Yeah, which would be interesting.
Right. The Florida show was a little bit more subdued. A lot of his friends and family were there, so he was able to talk about his childhood because he had a pretty stark childhood like myself. But the
Uh-huh.
Vegas show, I took that out. And it's just below deck, behind the scenes,
Yeah.
current events. And then I have a lot of games like, the comebacks with Captain Lee, where you shout something from the audience and he'll do one of his witty comebacks to you, right? Or like
That's great.
manage me, like where all these different games, so people can things out, because that was a big fun part of the Florida show, with the crowd
Yeah.
being able to shout things at him. And I really want him to spill a lot of tea about Below Deck. I mean, I think that's what the fans are there for in Vegas. So it's a little bit different of a show, but it moves a lot faster. And then, of course, he has he talks a little bit about his son, and we have up moments, down moments, but he's just so charming. I swear to God, he was very nervous about doing this show from the very beginning. Mary Payne, when I first wrote it, I had him doing all kinds of stuff on that stage. I had costume changes, I had props, and he was like, "You got to be kidding me with this! I can't." I said, I have him pull out a guitar at one point. I think we're still doing that part, and all these crazy things. And then I said, come on, out of your comfort zone. People want to come. They don't want to just, listen to you talk. But we have pared that down a little bit at this point. It was funny because at the very beginning, he said to me, I want no costumes. I want to just sit there in a tuxedo. And I said, no, we're doing, we're changing. But we have pared that down. He won all of those little arguments. I said, come on, we need this to be, I come from a theater background. I was a directing major in college. I got my master's in film. And I really wanted to make it just a special, incredible evening. And it still is. But we've definitely lost a little bit of the pizzazz that I started with. But it's going to be really
And what time does that start on Thursday at the
7:30
Westgate?
p.m.
Okay, that's good. So people won't be too drunk yet. So that's good.
Yeah, right. Correct.
Yeah, that's always the concern. Amy's Cabaret Amy starts at 9,
Whoa. Okay.
and then our after party starts at 10:30.
Wow. And where is her show?
It's late for mommy.
Yeah.
It's at Notoriety. It's this place called Notoriety Live, and we're literally like her show is in the something room, and then our party is in the Robin Leach room.
So fun.
You know,
Oh my
I know.
God.
So we're excited. So if you're done with Captain Lee and you want to bring him over, come on over.
Well, the same for you. You probably won't have time before, but if you want to come over, I think he's doing a meet and greet at 6:30, and then the show, and then another meet and
Okay.
greet. So if you want to drop by,
I would love to do it if we can make it over there first. I'll tell producer Ingrid and we'll see, because if I could get a picture with Captain Lee for my dad, I would frame it and that could be his Christmas present.
100%, he would do that. I'll put you
'Cause
right on the list. So let me know.
okay, last year I bought at BravoCon, I bought some Captain Lee coasters from his booth and gave those to my dad for Christmas.
No,
My dad loves Captain
I
Lee.
love that. Oh my gosh, we're gonna have fun.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna have fun at BravoCon, Mary Payne.
We are. You and I are gonna hook up. We're gonna have a great time. We're gonna be like, our knees hurt. We have to sit.
Exactly. Like coming through, 54-year-old ladies. Everyone move out of the
Listen,
way.
move out of the way. I told my sister yesterday, we were talking about it because she and my niece really wanted to go this year, but my niece is literally having a baby October 26th, so
Oh,
she won't make it.
congratulations.
It's just, her pregnancy happened to really interfere with them. They think that like if they go with me to BravoCon, I'm gonna like get something for them. I was like, I'm going as like a loser that bought VIP tickets. Like Bravo gave me nothing. They gave me nothing. Now I know they've given lots of people stuff at this point. So next year I'm going to know how to play the game. But this year I'm laying the groundwork. So I told my sister, I was like, next year maybe be your year. But I was like, and I'm not even kidding. Last year when I went, the week before I had torn my MCL,
Ugh.
my knee here in Mississippi. I'd come to Mississippi this same weekend. I had fallen going to the airport, the flight that leaves here at 6 a.m. All my listeners know this. They're so bored of this story. I jumped over a fence because I was like, oh, I got to jump over the fence to do. I don't need to jump over any fence. And I fell and landed and twisted my knee like behind me, like you would see like on a football scene where they would show and everybody would
Oh
scream. That was
no.
me.
Oh no.
Had to go to the ER, missed the 6 a.m. flight, obviously.
Mhm.
Terrible, but tore my MCL, and then we had this whole big bunkie meetup thing that we're doing in Philly, and then a live show in New York, and then BravoCon, and me with like 2 knee braces on one knee,
Wow.
looking real sexy. So I told my sister, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the weather or if it's been a year or what, but my knee is starting to hurt. And I had physical therapy. I had all this stuff. I really think I'm gonna have to dig through my drawer and find that soft knee brace and wear it at BravoCon because I'm not the walking. I've got my most comfortable brand new Hoka tennis shoes for the daytime.
Just,
Nighttime,
just,
I'm gonna have cute shoes.
just bedazzle that. Put some Bravo logos on there to look amazing. You'll stand up and
I know.
proud.
You and I were talking beforehand about making sure at BravoCon you stand out so people will see. So you literally need to, during the day, every day, you need to have a t-shirt with like your book on it. And then your moms are watching on the back or something so that when people approach you, if they see your moms are watching or your book, they'll stop you and they'll be like, that's my favorite Instagram account. Or I read that book.
Right. I am going to wear stuff with my name on it for sure because
Yeah.
I did have that last year where I was a little anonymous. I didn't want to be anonymous, but I didn't have any merch on. So I'm correcting that this year. So I'll be wearing, and then I'm also going to be just going live as much as I can. So I think if people want to find me, they'll know where to find me because I'll be live from wherever.
Yeah. Yeah,
Housewives.
yeah, yeah. That's how I'm gonna find you. So, I want to talk to you about the Instagram. Okay, so the Instagram is your moms are watching. Everybody knows this Instagram, and you guys know, my listeners know, I'm out here whoring myself out on the daily for every single Instagram follower. Thea, you're gonna think this is hilarious. I just hit 8,000, which for me is a big number. It's wild because, like I say, I know how many people listen to the podcast. It's more than 8,000.
Yes.
So why can't I get that number closer to the amount of listeners? I have no idea. I don't know what the algorithm is. I don't know. I don't break any scoops. We have some great reels. And sometimes, like I went to that 90-day TLC party. I got a lot of traction from that because, of course, people were super interested that I got invited to that party and was there, which was
Oh,
amazing.
I can imagine.
Um, but it's like, I don't know how to do it. Again, 54, I don't know how to do it. So I'd like for you to tell me all your secrets of how you got it so big. I know you have a lot of scoops on there.
Well,
So how did
there's
you get the
two.
podcast? How did you get the Instagram so big, and how do you get all the
These
scoops?
are my two tricks to getting it big.
Okay.
I'll be honest, my
Okay.
bread and butter are my memes. My memes have gone viral a bunch of times. You get tons of
Yes.
followers from that. So it's basically you're just getting lucky by hitting the algorithm where you're getting a lot of likes very quickly, a lot of comments very quickly, and then Instagram starts sharing it on Explore. They share it in people's feed, and then it picks
Okay.
up speed, right? I mean, I've seen my
Yeah.
Instagram page in the last 30 days has been seen by 1 million people. 1 million. And
Okay. And I get so excited if it's like 20,000 people saw your page, and I'm like, then why don't 20,000 people follow
most of that is from memes because Instagram shared me. Obviously, I have 50 whatever thousand followers, not 1 million. So they've shared it. That's
That's
big.
huge.
That's
Huge.
and then the second way, yes, or if I spill tea, that I can get. Or I've been involved in a bunch of scandals inadvertently, Mary Payne. I didn't do it on purpose,
Yeah.
and that picks up. You start getting shared everywhere, and you get a bunch of. I remember I had 11,000 followers. I'd had my page for a year. I've been like just literally grinding, like you said, for every follower.
Yeah.
Just like trying to get the explore page and trying to share memes and whatever. And I was just sitting at home on a Thursday night. My husband was out of town, my kids were asleep, and there was some weird thing going on with Lisa Rinna and some kid, and they were doxing each other, and it was crazy. And I,
Yes. It was
so I,
crazy.
what is
Yes.
happening with this? And I don't even know what came over me, and I didn't do this to go viral or anything. I just sent the kid a message, like a DM. I've never spoken to him. I said, "Hey, like, what's your deal? Like, what are you doing this to Lisa Rinna for?"
What is your deal? Who is that dude?
Well, he wrote back to me. I said, "Are you being paid by a housewife to do this, to mess with her?" And he said,
Yeah.
"Yes." I'd never talked to him before in
Uh-huh.
my life. And I said, "Who's paying you? Does her name rhyme with Milton?" Because Kathy Hilton and Lisa were feuding at the time. So it was my first guess.
Uh-huh.
And he wrote back, "Yes." And that went viral because, of course, it was this kid saying to me, like, Kathy Hilton paid me to mess with Lisa Rinna. And of course, all of it was a lie. But so overnight, I got 14,000 followers in one night because
Wow.
this story.
That's probably when I followed you because I was like, what is this
Right.
weirdo?
So that was up
And
to
that's
24,000. And then after that, it's been memes. And then I've been involved in a couple other. Louis, Teresa's husband, harassed me. That got me a lot of followers. So
yeah, can we talk about this? Are you under a court order not to discuss it, or can you
the
discuss
court
it?
orders.
Okay, so I would like to discuss that. So the Louis thing. Explain exactly what happened. So for those of you who do not watch Bravo as obsessively as we do. So Teresa Giudice is one of the OGs from Jersey. She is the OG from Jersey with Carolyn Manzo. She had this husband who they had some bad business dealings. She and her husband both went to jail. When she got out of jail, her husband got deported. So then they divorced, Juicy Joe, and now she is married to this other guy, Louis, who looks like a red hot. And I he seems to, from my eye, to have some anger issues, a little simmering rage going on. So he is problematic and brags a lot about being friends with Bo Dietl, this private eye. He did not have a good showing on the reunion, and people are a little like worried about the situation. And Teresa has 4 daughters. So explain what happened when you got him. Where were we in the season, the reunion time, and all that when all this Louis stuff came out with you, and then explain exactly what happened.
It was the season was airing, so everything had happened months before, but I was just kind of spilling tea that I'd heard from a few people that had told me a story about the Pizzagate thing. Like, remember the pizza and the pizza oven and all
Mhm.
that crap? Well, it aired on the
Yeah,
show, and as I'm watching the episode again, I'm just so nosy, Mary Payne. Like, I just can't keep my nose out of things. And they're airing
yeah.
something they mention about this pizza oven, but it really is vague on the show when it aired. And I'm like, what is this? Like, what's the real story? So, of course, I reach out to someone on the show and I say, what's going on? Expecting again to get no response. People ignore me all the
Right.
time, right? I'm sure, they don't have time for you. But not only did I get a response, but this person who was on the show called me and told me the whole story. I mean, it took like hours to hear this story about this pizza oven that Teresa and Louis had gone behind his back and all this stuff. So I
Because they had a business deal, and then Teresa and Louis went behind the
right,
back of Teresa's brother Joe and his wife Melissa, and they're long feuding
right.
with them. So I guess they had made peace and made a business deal, and then Louis turned around and screwed Joe out of the deal.
Exactly. So I told the story as I heard it, a very one sided story from, I can just say it was Joe Gorga. I told the story from Joe that he had told me just word for word. And it really did make sense and it really did elucidate what we had seen on the show. And so it kind of got a lot
Uh-huh.
of traction because it made sense. I mean, obviously, the tree huggers came out in force, I guess.
Oh god.
But then I got
God. That's scary. That's like the
oh
beehive.
gosh.
Yeah.
And then finally, I got these weird, kind of threatening, nasty messages from Louis out of the blue in the middle of the night. I mean, not middle of the night, it was 11 p.m., but it was still creepy. Like, he's a man and he's kind of crazy. And he was like, all capsing me, like, where did you get this information? Was it that? And then he called like a few horrible names, Marge, right? Like calling her like horrible names to me. I don't know this man. I've never spoken to him. It was so crazy. And then that just kind of took off too because I posted.
And so you, like, screenshot it and posted
I
it.
did. It took me like a day. I was really worried because he just scares me. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. But I
Yeah.
have this rapport. Maybe it's all in my head, but I think I have this rapport with my followers. I tell them a lot of really personal stories from my life.
Yeah.
I feel like I really always feel compelled to share with them what's going on, even at my own peril, because I know they love that. They love the gossip. They love when I get my hands dirty. They love it's just it's very entertaining for them. I
Yeah.
remember I spilled all of the Beverly Hills reunion details because I got it from Lisa Rinna. And I spilled it as it was happening. And Andy Cohen reached out to me and he was like, "Stop doing this! Like, you're like, you seem like a fan. Why would you ruin this for fans?" And I, of course, have to share all that with my followers because it was so juicy. I was getting in trouble from Daddy. It was like, "Where did you?"
Yeah. Oh my
It's
god.
crazy. So they love it. They love when I'm messy. So I, of course, I thought about it for a day because I'm like, I don't really want to poke this bear, but
Yeah, because he's
right,
scary. It's not like Andy Cohen reaching out to you. Louis is,
right.
like,
I mean,
literally telling all these men that he's, like, out for I
no,
mean
he's crazy. So he had this like, oh, caps and making, calling Marge names. And I was like, what? So I finally posted after like a day. I thought about it and I'm like, screw him. And I felt like it protected me to share it because it just showed him stop. I didn't write back to him, after at first I did. I was like, hi, Louis. And then when he started using the all caps and saying mean things, I just never wrote him back again. But I did post the DMs the next day. So, and that was it kind of that
Ooh.
took off as well, just because it was just the language was very like weird and it was kind of like proof that this man is unhinged. This is not a normal DM that you get from a Bravo lab. Is not. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So that kind of took off too. But those things that get you followers, they get you attention, but it's kind of negative attention in a lot of ways. So I don't love the like tea spilling part of my page. I don't really seek that out. I don't want
Yeah,
people
yeah,
sending me blinds and getting in trouble. It's not my favorite part of the page, but I know my followers love it. So I try
yeah.
once in a while, I try to, I don't try to get information, but when I do, I will post it. But I really love the memes and I love the storytelling. Those are my favorite parts of the page.
Well, there was another scoop after that one. Was it a Vanderpump scoop that came your way?
Kristen,
Kristen. Tell me what it was, because I'm trying to remember, because I remember Kate, our mutual friend, Kate Casey, Reality Life with Kate Casey, everybody knows Kate.
Love Kate. I wrote the
She
forward to my book, you guys. So if you love Kate, buy the Real
Yes.
Housewives Ultimate Trivia book to read her amazing forward.
Yeah, I read it, last night because I was looking through the book trying to stump myself, and then I was like, "Oh, I should read my friend Kate's foreword." It was great. But Kate, was reposting some scoop that you had, and then Heather McDonald too. I mean, another huge podcast was talking about it. It was like your moms are watching, your moms are watching. But tell me what it was. It was after the Louis thing.
Huh. It might be the Kristen. So I'm my friend was Kristen's publicist when she was on Vanderpump Rules.
Okay, Kristen Doty.
My
Yeah.
very good friend that I was telling you about earlier that I've known for 30 years.
Yes.
So when she was Kristen's publicist, there was this horrible night where James physically abused her and she hid at my friend's house. And it was like a very
Mhm.
dramatic, terrible night. And I lived in LA and we were very close. So I heard the whole thing kind of play by play in real time. So
Yeah.
now cut
Mhm.
to, however many years later, I was just listening to a podcast that Kristen was doing and she alluded to something dark that had happened to her regarding, she didn't even say James, she just said regarding a boyfriend I had at the time. And I knew exactly what she was talking about. And then, so I
Yeah.
posted it and I just said, I know exactly what she's talking about. It's this night that James hit her. I actually know that this happened because I lived it real time. So this is not like
Yeah.
I'm gossiping. I heard it from a friend, like it happened. And I
Yeah.
posted it, and then someone sent it to her, and then she's posted and said, "It's correct. It did happen. Your mom's being
Yes.
correct." So I kind of saved that all in a highlight because I really feel strongly about the fact that that did occur, and that Bravo did shut her down about it, and she never really got to talk about it, and it was a serious thing. So
Yeah,
there's
very.
people, and I wasn't really again trying to spill tea. I was just trying to back her and say I know that she would love if someone else, I don't know, but I was thinking maybe it would be helpful to her if someone else other than her, because her whole thing is she thinks people won't believe her. They just think, oh, crazy Kristen.
Yeah,
We all
right.
saw her hit him on camera. She deserved whatever. The blank
Yes.
had it coming kind of thing, which is horrible, as
Right.
you know. So yeah, that was again not a situation where I was trying to get followers or get attention, but it just felt like really strongly about supporting her since I do know a lot about her personally.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
not a bad person.
I've always been a Kristen fan. I listen, not popular, but I'm a giant Stassi fan too. I'm just like, I need Stassi 2.0 to come out with a show or something because
Wow,
she's so
really?
entertaining.
You love Stassi,
Entertaining.
huh? I'm not a huge fan, but I do appreciate her wit. I think she's funny.
This toast moment is sponsored by 21 Seeds Infused Tequila. All right, in Thea's book, she has a lot of fun facts and trivia questions about one of the most iconic episodes of all time, the original Roni, Real Housewives of New York, Scary Island. So I think we should raise a toast to Scary Island and Ramona's Turtle Time dance because without Scary Island, seriously, y'all, where would we be in our lives if we didn't have that Scary Island episode? I think the ladies were definitely toasting on that yacht with 21 Seeds infused tequila, grapefruit hibiscus, yum. So here's to you, Ramona. This is your toast moment, sponsored by 21 Seeds infused tequila. 21 Seeds infused Blanco tequila, 35% alcohol by volume, imported by Diageo, New York, New York. Please do not forward or share with anyone under 21, and please drink responsibly. Yes, that's what I'm saying. She's funny. Now, listen, I think also there's something to be said for somebody who makes a terrible mistake and learns from it and could fully admit, like, getting kicked off that show is the best thing that ever happened to me,
Right.
what she said. And so I think that there's something to be said for a redemption arc for people. That's just my thought. Okay, so I'm still thinking of another scoop that you broke, and so it
Oh,
wasn't the Louis thing. It was a timeline of events that you were posting about, and I really think it had something to do with the Scandival, but now I really can't remember because so much happened in that like 3-week time frame.
okay. So
So
my sister was Raquel's pageant coach, Rachel.
okay.
So she knew her
Wow.
very well, and I posted a lot of their DMs between her and Rachel and her mother back in her pageant days. So that might have been the scoop. I did have a scoop on that because really not many, at that point, not many people who knew Rachel were coming forward. And I
Yeah.
wasn't defending her, but I was just saying like, I do have some insight as to her mom kind of being very stage mommy, nice,
Yeah.
sweet, sweet lady, but
Yeah.
pushing a lot for her. So that I felt like, and I also knew that she was neurodivergent, which my son's autistic. And so I was kind of like not defending her, but just giving like some more context to her behavior. And some of her, like, because
Yeah.
she does have like a social cue kind of misfire where she doesn't, so it comes across on the show as her being so not caring, and but some of it has to do with the fact that she doesn't pick up on social cues as well as other people. And I had learned that through my sister, and my sister knowing her and her mom closely. So I shared that with everybody. And I mean, I think at the beginning it was hard because it looked like maybe I was defending her, but I wasn't. But then eventually I finally just had enough of the Rachel bashing just on a personal level.
Yeah.
So I did come out and say, okay, guys, maybe we should stop like vilifying this person. Let's turn our attention to the man here who was in the relationship.
Yes.
Maybe
Totally.
that was, I don't know.
Um,
Who knows? Mary Payne.
I can't. You've got so much. I mean, listen. Every single time you drop one of these nuggets, I'm like, well, let's go back to that. Wait, what? Okay, so you're. I'm still trying to like. Your dad has a movie review show on NPR, and your sister was Rachel's pageant
And Mary Payne,
coach.
my brother dated Joanna Krupa for 2 years. That's my other Bravo connection.
Okay. Wow. W- Wow. Okay. My God. Before Roman, after Roman.
Before Roman, but looks just like Roman. As a matter of fact, the Daily Mail once posted a picture of my brother and Joanna and called him Roman. That's how much they look alike. They look like brothers. So that was when she first got to LA from Poland, wanting to be a model, and my brother was her boyfriend for 2 years. So they hung out with Joe Francis, and my brother
Yeah.
was a talent agent in LA for a lot of years. So yeah, for 2 years. So when she got
That's
her Playboy cover, she was with my brother.
okay. My mind is completely blown. Well, okay. So your moms are watching. I want to talk about that for a second. Okay. So how did you come up with that Instagram name? Your moms are watching.
None of this was my idea. I have two friends, mom friends, and we watched Bravo, and we used to have a little Bravo chat on our phone, texting about whatever show we were
Yeah.
watching. And one of them
Right.
said to me, we should do an Instagram meme page. I honestly had never even been in this community. I didn't even know what a meme was. I'm Googling meme while she's talking to me. I'm like, a meme?
Yeah.
And she said,
Yeah.
we'll just do it. And then I said, well, what could be our angle though? There seems to be so many of them here. And then we said, oh, we're moms. How about your moms are watching? Like we're watching the shows and we're like judging, right? Kind of thing. Well,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
lasted about 2 days, and they were like, we're out. We're not doing this. So it was just me making my little janky memes, like not even knowing how to do anything, really bad, and trying to just stir up trouble. I remember the first season, my first few months of the page, it was the whole Tom Girardi, Erica Jane, Beverly Hills scandal. And for a
Uh-huh.
few months, I took Erica's side. I was like, you know what? I don't really like Erica, but it's F it. Like, I'm trying to get attention here. So I was like, listen, like, she makes her own money. Like, she had no idea of the whole thing. I really went into detail defending her and got a lot of attention. And so I'm just like scraping. Like, I have like 400 followers and I have like 600. I'm just trying. I'm
Yeah.
defending Jane.
Yeah.
I'm going after Kathy Hilton, saying that she's trying to sell us too much shit on the show. And I'm getting all this attention. It's negative attention. People are saying, how dare you come for our queen, Kathy? And then, how dare you defend Erica? And then I did actually switch my stance on Erica because I couldn't take it anymore. When the credit card bills came out, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done defending you. What do you mean you spent $20 million? Like, I'm over it. But Kathy, I kept
Well,
going for her because I after I connected with that kid who said Kathy paid him,
yeah.
Patrick Summers, I actually got the weirdest message. So I posted what he told me on my stories because I always
Yeah.
was like, oh, I was just talking to this kid and he said he did this. And I got the strangest message at midnight my time. So 3 a.m. LA time from Kathy Hilton's like brand manager. And she was like, you need to take that down right now. And I'm like, what? Like, this is crazy. By then, I already realized the kid was full of it. I'm like, it's just some dumb thing about some kid said, like, no one believes it. We're
Yeah.
done with this. And she was like, I'm sitting here with Kathy. We have Kyle on speakerphone. We have Rick here. Everyone's asking you to take that down. And I'm like, this is so strange. Why do you care about this? So my radar kind of went up. I'm like, what is happening here that like they're so concerned about this dumb rumor that I just put up on my stories, not even on my main page.
Because the stuff had not happened on the show yet. We knew about it, about her breakdown in Aspen, but I think it hadn't aired
No,
yet when this
nothing had
Patrick
aired.
Summers thing came out.
Nothing had
Yeah.
aired. And so in the second message she sent me, she said, she first of all, she told me, I am very good friends with, or no, I grew up with Elaine Goldsmith Thomas, who's Julia Roberts' producing partner at this time, and I worked for Elaine. And she said, "I saw that you
Mhm.
work for Julia. I know Elaine my whole life. Like I grew up with Julia's publicist Marcy. I know Elaine, so she's dropping these huge names into these DMs, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm very close with Elaine now to this
Yeah.
day. Like that's a big name that you just dropped on me. I'm paying attention now, you know." And but I'm thinking, why are you dropping these huge names on me? Who cares? And that's when she said, "What? No, that stuff didn't happen in Aspen." Well, I don't. What? Like I'd seen the rumors about Aspen, but they're not even big at this point. Like it had been a few months since Aspen, and no one was even
Yeah.
talking about it. I didn't talk about it. Patrick didn't talk about it. So it was strange. So of course, I'm immediately thinking something did happen in Aspen because why would you bring that up? Why
Yes.
would you bring up my old boss, Julia Roberts, Marcy Engelman? This is crazy. So I did take the story down actually because I was not scared, but just I realized at this point it was completely false. Like the kid was starting to just spiral and say these outlandish things, and I'm like, okay,
Darcy was like, first he got paid by this one,
right,
then he
it was
got paid by that one, and then Lisa Rinna paid him, and
right.
then she used a slur against him at a dinner they had at Craig's. It was like, wait,
Well, it was
what?
all
Yeah.
crazy. So I deleted the whole thing, even though traffic was like crazy on my page. I'd never seen that kind of traffic in my life. I said, you know what, I'm
Yeah.
not going to be part of spreading lies. So I just deleted everything, all the posts, the stories. So it kind of looked like I was following orders from Kathy Hilton's team, but I was very suspicious at this point. So I just started asking a ton of questions about Aspen to a lot of people. And then I started realizing, like, no, I think this did happen because they wouldn't have brought it up to me if it didn't. Like, it wouldn't even be. And then what happened was I started talking a lot to Lisa Rinna through this whole scandal. We connected, because she said, "Who's
Yeah.
this kid, Thea, that's saying these crazy things? I'd never heard from Lisa in my
Yeah.
life." And so we started messaging about it, and that's when she told me about Aspen. And I was like, okay, this sounds legit. And what happened was, as the show was airing, Bravo started cutting out any references to Aspen. So, in other words, the ladies would be having a conversation on camera and you wouldn't understand the context because any mention of it wasn't being aired. And that's what Lisa would tell me. She would say, "No, this is how this scene was. I can't believe they're cutting this out." Like, I get that maybe you don't believe it happened, but you have to say the context, what me and Erica are talking about, at least the
Right.
accusations, and let the viewers decide. And so I started posting about that, and it really made a lot of sense to a lot of my followers because it was very awkward as it was airing because it was like, why are they so
Yeah.
upset? So that actually caused a big story, even more than if Kathy said it or not, because everybody has their opinions, nothing's on camera. But more than that, it was like the kind of erasure of it, the Marty Singer of it all, like taking. And by the end, I honestly think by the end, they put it in the reunion. I think almost because of the push I was giving to say, like, stop this, like, let us see the context. And they did. They let Erica finally hurl that accusation at the reunion, whatever happened. So yeah, that was a really crazy thing I was involved in, but I really felt strongly about it. I was like, we are being completely misled here. The things are being edited that are
Yes.
altering what's happening real time. And I really felt so that I did push for, and I really did investigate into, and I really was excited about trying to uncover this and also kind of expose a little bit Kathy Hilton. She immediately blocked me and whatever. So, and that person, that brand manager reached out to me again and was like, "Stop this, stop talking about her." And she dropped another. She was like, "I'm very good friends. I used to be business partners with Marisol Patton, and you need to stop what you're doing." And I'm like, "Stop throwing these names around, dude."
I've got the same names. Like, you don't need to throw names out. Like, I know the same people.
No, it was
I
crazy.
will tell you that a little scoop I got on that situation last year at BravoCon. I was at dinner with someone who gets their hair cut by Julius Michael.
Right,
So Julius is the
right.
hairstylist to all the Bravo libs. And Julius told this person that he was doing Kyle's hair for watch what happens, or he was doing Kyle's hair for something for an event when all this stuff started happening with the stuff from Aspen, and that Kyle told this is from a second. This person told me that Julius Michael told her, okay, that he was doing Kyle's hair, and that Julia said that Kyle said absolutely, that Kathy lost her mind, and acted awful. And then when she got home, she was embarrassed and she was ranting at Lisa Rinna. And Lisa Rinna did, in fact, on her phone, record the whole thing.
Hmm.
Not video, just
Right.
audio. Because, she was hiding behind the door scared for her life or whatever when Kathy was ranting and raving.
Mhm.
But that she did, in fact, record it on her phone, which, of course, the whole time we're like, of course she did.
Mhm.
Of
Who
course she
who
did.
wouldn't?
Nobody ever thought Lisa Rinna didn't record that on her
Right.
phone. But Kyle told Julius, this is all coming from the person who told me. And she was like, yeah, and but that it'll never see the light of day because of Kathy's, team or
Right.
whatever. So I fully
Yeah.
believe that. And every time I heard Andy say, we absolutely don't have any audio
Right.
or video of it, I was like, yes, you do. You have the audio from Lisa Rinna's
Right.
phone. But it's interesting because Lisa, got fired, decided not to come back, or a little bit of both. And then, of course, Kathy, my understanding is not on this season at all,
No,
not
she's
once.
not back. I feel like I'm personally responsible. No, but I did contribute because I feel like I opened a lot of I think a lot of people had the wool over their eyes and they're thinking, "Oh, she's so great. She's so folksy. She's so quirky." And I'm like,
Quirky.
I'm not like sure she's who we think you are. So that's the only real Bravo love I've ever come after. And I feel like it did pay off because again, I try to be very thorough and my followers trust me. I've never really spilled any bad tea or done, I'm not looking to be a tea page, but if I find something, somebody
Yeah.
tells me something and I really feel strongly about it, I'll talk about it. But it's not my favorite because I did get, obviously, there were a ton of Kathy Hilton scans. Most of the more than half of the Bravo pages blocked me at that point because they were all fans of hers. So at this point, still, I'm like, I can't see a lot of the other Bravo pages, which is annoying. So
That is wild. Well, you have to get a fake account.
because they love
Well,
me.
okay. Let me ask you if you know the scoop on the New York housewife, Lizette, that left, because we've heard 3 or 4 different stories about what happened there.
Right.
Um, and I'm always so interested. I was like, what actually did happen there?
From what I know, or who knows what the real story is, but the story I heard was that Bryn had asked Lizzie to set her up with a Jewish man.
Okay, so it was Bryn that asked
Right.
her.
And
Okay.
then allegedly Lizzie made a comment like, well, you need to make sure it's pure blood Jewish man. So be careful with that. And Bryn said, wow, that you sound like a Nazi. Like that's Nazi, like to say something about pure blood. And that's kind of where it all
Yeah.
stemmed from. And then allegedly Lizzie's husband got involved and said something to Bravo. And while he was talking to Bravo, he used the N word in reference to what had happened, not like in a derogatory manner, but they immediately fired them both because the N word.
Okay. So he listen, you can't say it no matter
No,
what.
exactly.
But in context, he was trying to say it was as if you
Right.
said the N
Right.
word when you say Nazi to a Jewish
He actually
woman,
said the word,
but
and that's
he said the word.
problem.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I
That's
heard.
no.
It could be completely wrong. I have no idea. I don't have like a firsthand account. I don't know Lizzie, but I think Bravo just didn't want anything to do with this whole situation. It just seemed like real yucky to them to have anything to do with pure blood Nazis, the N word. Like it's crazy. So they
Yeah.
let her go, and then according to her, and I'm sure this is true, so the story had gotten out, and she had started to get a lot of anti-Semitic comments and whatever, like some hate online.
You're
It
right. Yeah.
all became
Uh-huh.
like kind of messy, and I just feel like, and then they did scrub her from the show. There were scenes at the very beginning that are awkward because she was part of it, and they won't air that part. So a little bit like the Aspen situation, where they just were like, we don't even want this referred to on our show. We want nothing to do with this. So they took it out. So it
Yeah.
looks like the first couple episodes of the season were a little awkward because they edited out even any mention of her, which is weird because she was filming already.
Yeah. I wonder, yeah, how long she filmed because it's sort of like Jenny Wynn on Salt
Right.
Lake, and people kind of forgot about that. I was like, no, the reason some of these things are weird is because she was cut out of those first few scenes because she was there until she got in trouble and had to
It's
go.
strange when they do that. It is. I mean, I kind of appreciate in a way them not wanting to air anything incendiary, but on the other hand, it's weird to not have context for what we're seeing. It's strange.
Yeah, yeah. I just didn't know how long Lizzie was on the show
It was
before
definitely the
that.
first, 3 or 4 episodes that they had filmed with her.
It was
And
a
then
lot, so a lot,
yeah,
a
right,
lot.
exactly. And then she was gone, and then now it's completely, when you watch it, you're not missing anything. But the beginning, it was weird. We were
Yeah.
fighting over cheese and whatever, and it was like, no, there's more going on. People were on Lizzie's side, people were on Bryn's side. That's what the animosity came from, not from cheese. But all we saw was the cheese, and so we were like, wow, they're really getting upset about this comment about cheese or whatever. So that's what was going on that we didn't see.
Well, I found interesting towards the end, it may have been like the second to last episode that just came out, was when Jenna said that Uba got upset with her because she came to her house and didn't tell her there were cameras. And Uba was like, "You better let me know so I'll be camera ready." And that was obviously sort of at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
kind of before. I was like, why did we should have seen that in the beginning?
Right.
Because that would have sort of given some context,
Right,
maybe.
to the tension, right.
Yeah, and I just had a conversation with Carlos King that's going to come out tomorrow, a bonus episode here, and he was saying his opinion as a former Housewives producer that he thought Uba should go, which I was so surprised. He said he thought Uba should go because she's hiding this relationship the whole
Mhm.
time, and he's like stealing beans from a kitchen is not fun. That's not funny. He's like that's not he's like, "That's stupid." He just felt like she really didn't show her true personality, and I was stunned that he said that. I was like, "Well, I just think she's so pretty, I like to look at her."
No,
I was like, "I'm shallow."
100%. No, I went back and forth on Uba this season for sure. I thought she really like unleashed on Aaron, whether you like Aaron,
Yeah.
whether you like Aaron or not. It did not.
But now maybe it makes
Right.
sense because she doesn't want anybody to see what's on her phone.
Oh no, exactly. That's exactly what happened. She was like, "Where is my phone? Because I don't want you to see who I'm dating." I know that's a tricky
Right.
situation. Of course, we all want to see every single thing about these people, and we get upset when we don't. But it's not up to us. It's up to the boyfriend. And if he didn't want to be mentioned on the show, there's nothing she can do. What's she can do? Just quit the show? Stop dating him? No,
Yeah, I
she's
mean,
gonna.
but I think she could even say, "I'm dating this guy from Connecticut and it's new and I don't want to talk about it yet, but I'll let you know when it becomes something." You can at least say
Right,
that. So it's not like a full like, "I'm not dating anybody, can you set me
right,
up?" At least just say because like Jenna said at the beginning, I was dating someone and kind of it's fresh, so I don't quite want to talk
right,
about it yet. They're like, "You don't want to tell us?" And she goes, "Not yet." And that's totally normal in any dating
right.
situation with friends. You might be like, "There's something, but I don't want to tell you yet, but I'll tell you if it becomes and that's normal. But for Uba to be like, "There's no one, I'm totally single," and she's dating this guy the whole time.
Right. Weird. I agree. I agree.
Weird. It was interesting to
Do you
hear
like New
Carlos's
York?
take because yeah.
Do
Hmm.
you like New York? Were you a fan of the new New York?
I liked it, and I think that any first season, anything, you gotta give it one more season because now they know each other a little
Of
more.
course. I agree.
And now they've got a base to work from, but when you've got a whole new cast of people, most of them who are not organic friends, um, you're gonna it takes a little
Right.
time.
I agree. No,
Takes a little
I
time.
really enjoyed it. I mean, lived in New York for 22 years. I feel like I have a lot of friends like I had a lot of friends like them. So I really,
Yeah,
really enjoyed it for that reason. I really could relate to a lot of it. What restaurants are cool, what restaurants are not cool,
yeah.
neighborhoods are cool. No, I mean, I lived the whole thing. So I went to college and grad school in New York. So I like that part of it.
Well, tell me, okay, so when you decided to write the book, which is the ultimate trivia book, again, guys, it's the cutest book. It's pink. It's got these great illustrations in it. And it's great. You could just flip to any page and like try to trick yourself. That's what I tried to do last night. I was like, I'm just going to flip to any page, and when it would land on a Miami, I'm like, "Ugh, I don't know it as well. I've watched it, but I didn't know it as well, and I've never watched Dubai, so I didn't even go to that section because I didn't want to upset myself with it, lower my score.
I try to make it user friendly in that way, like separate it by franchise so you can just flip around,
Yes,
right? Because not everybody has
yeah, but you could flip around. Yeah.
every season of every show.
Hey, y'all. I do love to cover drama and I love to talk about it on this podcast, but a place that you don't want drama is your kitchen table at dinner time or lunchtime. That's why I love Little Spoon. I've told you guys that I so wish Little Spoon was around when my kids were little. It would have saved me so much heartache. Little Spoon is the one-stop shop for healthy, easy mealtime and snack time for your baby, toddler, and your big kid, and it's delivered right to your door. That's right, you can have Little Spoon in your life for years, making the mealtime healthy, tasty, and easy from the little bitty babies all the way up to the big kids. Little Spoon delivers, they have the baby blends, the biteables, the plates. They have lunchers. You have to think about like old school favorites with the new school standards. Brand new lunchers are healthier and they're build it yourself lunches, flavors and imaginative build it yourself meals that your big kid will love, like easy cheesy pizza, yum, chicken dunkers, yum, chicken nacho dips, yum, all made junk free and have 10 grams of protein, which is super important, as you know, on those busy school days. They also have some new things in their snacks. They have dipsters. You guys, nobody loves a dip more than me. They have these new offerings, brownie batter plus cookies. Oh my gosh, so good. Confetti cake and pretzels. They have these veggie loops, fruit rippers, oat bakes, and then the smoothies. Yum. So, like I said, sweet baby James, my nephew's son, tried so many of these things. He loved everything he tried. They were so happy because it came right to the door. That's great for grandma, which in this case is my sister, and great for parents as well. So make this year's chaos a little more manageable with time-saving, delicious, and healthy meals and snacks your kids will love. Go to littlespoon.com/pinkshade and enter our code pinkshade at checkout to get 30% off your first Little Spoon order. That's littlespoon.com/pinkshade and enter our code pinkshade and you'll get 30% off at checkout. So how did you decide to write this book? Like when did it come to you like, oh, there's a market for this? Well,
It
how did it
actually
come to
wasn't
you?
my idea. So when I worked for Julia Roberts, I replaced somebody who was already her story editor, and he went over to work for Judith Regan. Remember Judith Regan?
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
actually brought. I used to write a big internet column. It was a very big column for the website for the movie American Pie, and it was a gossip column. It was anonymous, and he brought
Okay.
my gossip column over to Judith Regan, and she bought it actually for HarperCollins to make it into a book. But then we all know what happened to Judith Regan with the OJ book. So my book,
Yes. You guys, if you're too young to know what that means, just look up Judith Regan, Regan, and what happened with the OJ book. She was, I mean, I know who Judith Regan was. She had a show on XM like before people did, and I always listened to her because she was so knowledgeable. And then that whole OJ book thing happened, and then she was totally canceled, which is too bad because she was such a force to be reckoned with in the publishing industry.
right. So my book went, but anyways, there is a point to the story. So the guy who brought my book over became a very close friend of mine over the years. He used to be a book scout. He still is a book scout for all the big studios. He's amazing.
Yeah.
And he eventually ended up marrying this lovely woman. And that woman went on to become a book agent. And then just last year, or the year and a half ago, had gotten a job to bring in projects to an imprint called Quarto Inc. And she called me, and she was a fan of my page, and she, been following me. And I don't even really know her that well, but I've met her a bunch of times, and I'm very close to her husband. And she said, I just got this job, and my job is to bring in books, and I thought it'd be great to do a Real Housewives trivia book. Would you be interested in writing it? So that's how it happened.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, and you can tell this, by the way, by reading the book, I am not I've watched every episode, every franchise except for the last couple of seasons of Dallas. So I'm a fan for sure, but I'm not one of those nerdy encyclopedia like, oh, season 2, episode 4. Like, no, not at all.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
like a more
Yeah.
conceptual person. I'm more of a creative mind. So it was actually hard for me to come up with all these questions from all these seasons and all, and picking which ones you're going to put in the book. But what I would try to do with it, and what I thought kind of like the whole lexicon of Bravo universe was missing, is to have a book where everything's in there, like all the big memeable moments, all the things that so if you forget,
Yeah.
it's kind of like you have this book that has everything in it. That's what I was going for, as opposed to maybe like a super intellectual trivia. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's very surface because I had to cover so much. You can't have like 600-page trivia book. So I tried to just come up with the big moments and have really great illustrations and just kind of have fun with it. So this next book that I'm writing, the Vanderpump Rules Ultimate Trivia Book, I go a lot deeper because it's just one show, 10 seasons. So I really I get a lot more into it. But this is just a surface, like, it's so fun. Let's have everything in one place. You have this book. We're all fans. You can pick up any chapter, do trivia with your
Yeah.
friends.
I just, as we're sitting here, I just turned to the middle and a couple of questions came up about Beverly Hills and I knew all the answers. I was very happy. And I also love the DC section, being that I'm a DC girl. Um, Love, love, love. Which DC housewife is not a U.S. citizen? Do you know the answer? Mary, American. Stacy,
Hmm.
American. Kat, not American.
Correct.
It's, the answer is Kat.
I love the
I
I
was
love
wondering too
DC.
if I was wondering too if you literally were like, all right, I'm going to write this book, so I'm going to go through every episode, every season of every franchise and try to pull things because I was like, that would have taken a long time if you had to do it that way. So no,
No,
you just kind of went, yeah,
again, I didn't have to go that deep because we only had so much space. So
yeah, right,
but I did, of course, have to do research because I don't remember everything. So I did go back and I would watch the important moments or look at a bunch of recaps. And
yeah.
but a lot of it was just from my memory of what I remember from the shows. This book, Vanderpump Rules, I had to rewatch because there is just I don't remember the little details, and it's just one franchise. It's 10 seasons though.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was a big undertaking, but I also wanted this book just to, like I said, just to be deeper. So it's like I really could trip you up, or you really could learn something from the book that you missed, or remember something that's important leading up to Scandival. So this one,
When is this book coming out?
it'll be next September. So I just handed in my first draft, so we're working on it now. So it'll be the same kind of timeline as this Housewives book. Housewives book came out in September. September
Mhm.
19th. So the next one will be the same. And now I'm just kind of trying to promote it. It's hard though. Publishing is a grind. Have you ever had any dealings with publishing? It's a grind. Like it's hard to get people to buy a book. I had no idea.
Yeah, I can imagine that an actual book
Right?
because I do all my books on Kindle
Exactly.
and I'm an English major, English lit, so I'm never I'm never without a
Right.
book ever.
Totally.
Um
But it's all
so
Kindle.
I I
Yeah.
I, I just roll one book into the next. Like
Right.
I'm not I don't ever go to bed at night without reading ever. And so I can imagine a book like this, which is really lends itself to you need to actually have it. This will be in my office. It'll be with my Andy Cohen books. Like those books, I have the actual book
Right.
because I want to actually have it. A book like this, you need to have the actual book because I was telling you the illustrations are great, and it's just so. This would be the kind of thing that really I would like to sit and go literally through every single page and then score myself,
Right.
because I would like to know if I'm as smart as I think. Now, the Vanderpump Rules, if I don't get 100% score, whatever will be the highest rating, because I don't think there's anything you could trip me up with Vanderpump Rules. I
Wow.
really
Is
don't.
that true? It's not,
That's true.
again, like I know all the answers in Vanderpump Rules because I've been a huge super fan from day one. But it's
Yeah.
just a matter of reminding you again, like these books are not really designed, or I'm not designing them to be like, the most
So hard.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's fun to like there are things you will have forgotten. You think there aren't, but then you're going to say, "Oh my gosh, that really happened." I mean, I've been doing that in my rewatch, saying, "Oh my gosh, I completely forgot that this happened." And then how it kind of all ties into Scandival, how it all led.
Yeah.
So I think it is interesting. It's a good like walk down memory lane. And again, like I think it's fun to have everything in one place. If you're a fan of something, you just have the book that you can say like, "Oh yeah, I remember that moment." I don't know. For me, that's we
Absolutely.
do have a great
Absolutely.
rating system in the Housewives book where you can rate yourself to see your super fan status, and also just
Yeah.
by chapter or by franchise, you can rate yourself to see how well you know that. And then at the end, it's kind of like a which housewife are you quiz. That's fun. So there's lots of fun things to do in it. I feel like it's a fun thing and it's a good coffee table book, but also good, for your trivia nights. I don't know.
Yes.
It really has been doing well. It's just a matter of getting it in front of people. It's so sparkly and cute, but not if someone doesn't know
Yes.
about it, they're not going to buy it. So that's the challenge, of course, because publishing is not like they're not like the most lucrative business where they can fly you all over the place to promote it. So it's limited.
Yeah.
And my Instagram page, you can only go so far with. I can't even believe that I haven't sold more through my Instagram page because it's so big. But it just doesn't translate necessarily. Your fans don't translate into people that are actually paying for something. You know how it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, believe me. Yes. Well, I will tell all of you this book is cute and it's sparkly and it's going to look very cute, like right behind me where I have my Andy Cohen books in my office. It's called The Unofficial Real Housewives Ultimate Trivia Book, Thea de Sousa. So TheaDSousa. And you guys will love it. It's really fun. And you always see people that have premiere night parties at their house or Bravo theme parties and like Friday night they have, and this would be a great thing because you don't have to like think of your own trivia. You've got a book right here that's got it all in there.
Right, exactly. That's kind of the point
Yeah.
of it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody, let me tell you what, you could follow me at Pink Shade Pod, but you can also follow Thea over at Your Moms Are Watching. And probably if you're listening here, you're already following Thea. And once again, I'll beg you to follow us at Pink Shade Pod, trying very hard every day out here, not buying bots, doing my best. And it's something about our age group, I think, Thea. We're like, I'm not buying followers. I
Oh
don't
God.
care. You could send me this
Right.
$500 will get you 10,000 followers. I am not doing it. I am
Well, it's
not doing
strange
it.
because they do. Your engagement rate does matter when it comes to
Yeah,
like. I would never probably have been hired to even write this book if I didn't have a high engagement rate. If I just had this page
right.
with a bunch of followers that were all bots, I probably wouldn't have been hired. So it does translate when you're looking to monetize or to do anything off of your page. Your engagement rate does matter. So I feel like if you buy bots, then
Yeah.
your rate engagement rate goes down.
Yeah, I don't even listen, I wish I could I do have a social media girl that helps me, and she always shows me the numbers of how much it's gone up, and she's like, "I promise you this is growing at the, a good rate," or whatever, because I'm always like, I don't get it how I can." And here's the thing, people are like, "Who cares? It's social media." And I agree because 'cause I'm of that generation. I'm like, I mean, I'm looking at it, but it's sort of like, who cares? The reason it's important is for this podcast, which is my job, which is what I love. It's important for advertisers if they go to advertise on this podcast, which keeps it going for free here on Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen for free. Advertisers is what keeps that going for me. So if advertisers go and look at the social media and they're like, it's weird or social media is so low, but the listenership is so high, that's sometimes where it'll come into play where I need the social media to be higher. So it translates for the podcast for advertisers. It's all
Well,
connected.
Marianne,
And
you
while I
need
would,
to you need to up your meme game. I'm telling you, memes are where it's at. No one gets that. Memes are what makes Instagram share you. So you just put a little picture from a still from the show the night before, a little
yeah,
witty caption, compare it to something. This is really where the bread and butter is. I don't think people understand that enough. People on other pages who don't do memes, I'm like, listen, you got to get those memes because Instagram really favors that.
it's interesting you're saying that because I'm friends with a podcast and I say kids because they're like in their 20s. They're from the Real Housemates of New York as the name of their podcast, but they have a huge Instagram following. So I was asking them, how does that translate? Because their Instagram is way bigger than what the podcast is, and that happens a lot too. And the guy that does it is like literally it's the memes.
Exactly. And
It's the
that's
memes.
a very funny, that person or that account has very funny memes and they have
They're
and
hilarious. They
and
are
people share them,
hilarious.
and when they share them on their big pages because they think it's funny, like if I share something, people will go over and say, "Oh, who made this?"
And follow
Right,
them. They're
and
funny.
then on
Yes.
top of that, with everyone sharing you is amazing, and then also on top of that, again, like the algorithm favoring you, so that when people are scrolling, you come up on their feed or on the explore page, which is like the golden. When I made a meme when I first had, I don't know, a couple thousand followers, and it was about Kathy Hilton. It was just a picture of her, and I just was saying like, "Oh, did you guys know that her Hilton, which she still owns stock in? I don't care if they don't own it anymore." Um, has a Ruth's Chris in 86 restaurants across the country. So if you think Kathy Hilton on Beverly Hills reciting the menu of Ruth's Chris is not her selling you something, you're deluded. And that was what the meme was. And basically that got shared on the explore page by, to like 500,000 people. And that my page grew from that. It was just funny, but it just somehow Instagram picks up that a lot of people were replying because a lot of people were arguing with me about it. And I was like, no, 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 people, this is not a coincidence. Oh, but they don't own Hilton anymore. I'm like, I don't care if they don't own Hilton anymore. You see Kathy Hilton staying in a lot of Hiltons. You think she's paying for that? Yeah. And
Yeah,
we have a
right.
financial interest still in Hilton. So anyone who thinks that when he sold it, he did not get a ton of stock, then, that's crazy. It's not a coincidence that she's talking about, the bloomin' onion or whatever the heck it was on the
Yes,
show. So
right.
that was
Yeah.
funny. But yeah, so that's the kind of thing. Either you can be funny and clever like the housemates and get shared a lot because it's funny, or just be
Yes.
provocative, which is another way that I've grown, like shilling for Erica Jane for the first half of Beverly Hills season. That will get you a lot of comments and
I have to say that I agree with your original idea that Erica Jane did not know. I think she was just like, "Hey, he's giving me a lot of money. I don't care where it comes
oh,
from.
100.
I have to sleep with him twice a year. I don't
No,
care."
you think
You know?
that you think that a very famous, very um, professional, whatever, a lawyer, an attorney, would sit down and give his wife detail. He's not stupid. Why would he do that? If he was doing illegal things, he's not telling anybody about it. I mean, there's no way that she knew in my head. However, I do think that she spent way too much money, and that part is kind of gross now that there are victims and all that. So I did turn on her.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, I agree with
Yeah.
that. But I think that what we all were so upset about, and then I'm really going to let you go. But I think what we were all so upset about is the way that she was just like, "Fuck you," and posting that picture of her on a cross and all that. We're like, no, no, no,
Right.
no, no. Like whoever was her PR team did not give her the right advice, or she ignored it, because it was like, this is not the way you handle it. The way you handle it is there are actual victims here, and I hope we get to the bottom
So I
of
feel
it.
like she's pivoted to that, which is nice. So we'll see.
It's about 2 years too late, but yeah.
No, I don't hate her at all,
But
but
yes,
I also don't. I'm not. I was a staunch defender for just to be provocative. I like to argue. I like the discourse. So that's just. I'm giving you advice that that's another way to grow your
I appreciate that. I'm gonna
Become provocative.
use my drive up. I'm gonna use my drive today to really lean in and think about what I can
And
do.
and
What scoop do I
they say
know?
too when you're trying to grow, which I'm not trying to grow anymore, so I don't do this. But they say too, like you should post regularly, whatever it is. Like I said, funny, provocative, whatever you want, but post regularly so that your page gets up there in the algorithm. Because Instagram doesn't like someone popping up and just posting one meme and then going away for a couple months. They just feel like they're just trying to control bots and all that. So you just want to like post regularly, and eventually it'll catch on. Somebody will pick it up, somebody will share it, and then people will follow your page. You'll see a lot of new followers.
Yeah. Oh Lord. All right. Well, I appreciate it, because
In
I'm
the
like,
podcast world, so maybe who cares?
well, again, that's why it's hard, because you feel stupid being like, you guys, please follow me on Instagram. Like it's dumb, but I'm like, I always try to explain, like, this is why it's important. It's important because advertisers look at it and they'll advertise on the show, which helps me to
Of course,
continue to
of
provide
course.
3 free episodes a week in addition to the 1 to 2 over on Prime. By the way, guys, follow us over
I
on
mean,
Pink Shade
we're
Prime.
doing the Lord's work, Mary Payne.
I don't know about that. I think you're doing the Lord's work. All right, everybody, please follow me on Instagram, like I just beat that into your head. And then, of course, please follow Thea at Your Moms Are Watching. And thanks, Thea. Don't hang up. I'm going to hang this up, and I appreciate you being with me
Thank you
today.
so much for having me.
Ads not read by me, Mary Payne, don't necessarily reflect the views of Pink Shade. If you'd like to listen to ad-free, you're going to go on over to Supercast or Patreon, and you can find the links to Pink Shade Prime at pinkshadepodcast.com.